Let me ask you about the Seahawks offense. So we've seen
Yeah.
Darnold, we've seen the Seahawks defense. We don't really know what to expect from the Seahawks offense. We saw that one drive. It was really nice. It was against the Chiefs. Um, wh- what's this going to look like? What is this going to look like?
I think it's very clear what they want it to look like. And that's a big step up from what you could even say last year, where you had a college coordinator coming up, never coached in the NFL, with a college offensive line coach who had never coached in the NFL, and none of the offensive coaches had ever coached together. So it was like a complete, it was kind of a shit show, to be honest. So like,
Mhm.
they want to be a wide zone running team. They want to be aggressively getting downhill and getting to third and manageables, or not getting to third down at all. They're going to be bootleg play action. I mean, it's going to be very familiar to 49ers fans what they're going to try to do. I think it's like the old school Kyle Shanahan offense, where Kyle Shanahan is now moved away from being a run-centric offense and are trying to really rely on their, $53 million a year quarterback. The Seahawks are like, no, we're going to build a balanced offense. And the thing I'd say there, Grant, is I mentioned about what Geno had to deal with. Both Zach Charbonnet and Ken Walker, their average yards before contact was negative last year. Both of them were getting tackled and hit before they even got to the line of scrimmage. People wouldn't realize this, but Ken Walker had one fewer forced missed tackles than Saquon Barkley last year, and he did it in half the snaps. But a lot of those were just trying to get back to the line of scrimmage, so it just didn't
Hey,
feel like.
Saquon Barkley had some lean years on bad teams. I'm
Yeah,
just saying, I'm a big Kenneth Walker truther, and I love
yeah,
Charbonnet too because I've been watching him since
I
college.
know
But
you do.
if you put Walker on the Eagles or the
Oh,
Commanders or the Ravens, I mean, he'd be an offensive player of the year candidate, in my opinion.
I don't think that's out of the question this year for the Seahawks, and that's going to sound crazy, biased, homerish, and that's fine if that's how people want to hear it. But I would not have said that last year. I think based off of the way this young offensive line is gelling and working with another former Shanahan disciple, John Benton and Rick Dennison, the offensive line folks,
Dennison.
like this
God, this
looks
is an old
like,
school Kubiak production, man. It's
right?
crazy. Rick
It
Dennison. Hadn't heard his
it
name in
looks
20
like
years.
it looks like Kenneth Walker could be a guy who's actually breaking tackles past the line of scrimmage and breaking off 50, 60, 70-yard
He's a
runs.
home run hitter.
He is.
Yeah.
And he's a good receiver too. I think people forget that. And the other thing to know about this offense that, you've talked about the fullback down there in Santa Clara, who
Good.
just kind of shuffles back and forth.
Big fan.
And I know that you look at him closely everywhere. But Robbie
Thank you.
Oots, you're welcome. Robbie Oots, draft pick for the Seahawks at Alabama, played tight end, 6'4", 274 pounds. I think he's going to be not only a Patrick Ricard kind of
He's
blocker,
like
he's
a
going to be
Patrick
a guy
Ricard.
that can receive out of the backfield. So
Okay.
he's a sneaky guy that people will never have heard of, who I think could play a role in this game.
Okay. How do you anticipate the workload to be distributed between Charbonnet and Walker? Or is that just a big mystery?
It's funny because every fantasy person wants to know this, right?
Yeah.
And I think in the Seahawks facility at the VMAC, they would probably in closed doors say it's going to be 50-50. That's what I
Yeah.
think. That's what I think that they believe. Kenneth Walker will start. My belief is when you see Kenneth Walker behind this line, they're going to have a really hard time taking him off the field. I think it's going to be closer to 70-30, but who knows? Kenneth Walker he's just a different dude than anyone else on that roster. And he could be like a true blue chip player if things break the right way.
Yeah, Charbonnet's a load. He'll wear you down. He can catch some passes, but he's not truly explosive like Walker.
Right.
Okay, let me ask you about these receivers. You get rid of DK, you bring in Cooper Kupp. What's that about? The last time Niners saw Cooper Kupp, he was super duper washed.
Yeah.
So is he better now? Is there a new plan for him? Like, explain that one.
Well, I'll say this. They did not want to let go of DK Metcalf. Like, they were hard. They fully expected DK Metcalf to be here, and they were going to pay him and all that stuff.
Okay.
DK Metcalf was like, Nope. They wouldn't even get to numbers because he wanted, he did.
He's like Sam Darnold. Don't believe in him.
No, this is before. This is before
Okay.
all that. So
Okay.
the team wanted DK. The plan was never let's go get Cooper Kupp and MVS instead of like that was plan Q. Like that wasn't even
Sure.
plan B. So
Uh-huh.
they did it. They had money to spend, and I think they brought Cooper Kupp in primarily because he's going to set a culture in there of how you work, how you be a pro. I don't think they brought him in there to be 2019 Triple Crown winning Cooper Kupp. And he has been like, there's two things that have held Cooper Kupp back the last few years: health, and then, does he have the same physical skills that he once had? Health, he hasn't missed a practice, hasn't missed a snap. Looks like he's ready to get out there. So that's good.
That's what they said about Christian. We'll talk about it in a minute. We'll talk about it in a minute.
The other piece, though, is like, does he still have it? And I can't say, like, if I had to bet right now, I would say probably not. Like, I think he could be
You
like
see him in the one-on-ones. Does he win? Not like he used to.
Yeah, I mean, he does, but I mean, I see him as like kind of like a Tyler Lockett for the Seahawks the last few years, where he's like a good guy that's going to make some plays that help move the chains, maybe score you some touchdowns in the red zone.
He'll find the hole in the zone.
Yeah,
his savviness.
Not a guy that you're going to really game plan for. In fact, you're probably going to try to force the Seahawks to rely on him, is my guess.
Okay. Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code COHN, COHN, and download the app now. Okay. What about JSN? Is he a number one wide receiver? How is Clint Kubiak going to feature him?
Man, that is, as far as the house of cards for the way the Seahawks are built, he's one of the foundational pieces, right? If he were to go down, then that whole offense looks massively
frumpy.
Yeah. Yes. He actually, like, you saw how Marvin Harrison Jr. put on all the like muscle, like the guy looks like a defensive end now. JSN quietly put on some muscle himself, but not to that level. He absolutely abused the Packers during joint practice. The Packers beat writers were just like, my God, they cannot stop this guy. And everything I see is that he's ready to take that next step into being, I mean, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is like a reasonable comp for what he could be. He's not quite the physical player that Amon-Ra is, but as far as an impactful, mostly slot, but can play outside and just as a factor, hard to cover. I think that's who JSN could be.
Is Jake Bobo a factor?
You're such a UCLA
I mean, I know
dude.
he went to UCLA. I know a little bit about him. Is he like your Juwan Jennings? Like what is the deal with Bobo?
That would be a good comp at the ceiling, because Jennings is such a physical player on third down, makes all the contested catches, great blocker in the run game. And one of the things that made the 49ers for all those years were their blocking receivers. Debo, Ayuk, Jennings were easily the three best run blocking receivers in football when together. And I think the Seahawks are hoping that Jake Bobo, by the way, has been one of the best run blocking receivers. He has not proven that he can be that Joe Juravicious, Juwan Jennings style impact player yet. He's a good contested catcher. That's kind of, I was talking to Matt Hasselbeck the other day. That's kind of the comp I have in my mind for Jake Bobo. Can make some plays, can score some touchdowns, but not a guy you want to target a lot.
Have you ever gone to Jake Bobo and asked if he's heard of Joe Juravicious? I bet the answer would be no.
I will. He's
I
been
went up to Jordan Mason last year. Trent Williams compared Jordan Mason to Marshawn Lynch. I went over to Jordan Mason. I'm like, have you ever heard of Marshawn Lynch? He was like, no.
What? He had never heard of Marshawn Lynch?
Never heard of Marshawn Lynch. A lot of football players don't watch football, man.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I was like, watch his highlights, come back tomorrow and holler at me. So I go back the next day. I'm like, what'd you think? And he's like, man, stop comparing me to Hall of Famers. Stop comparing me to Hall of Famers. I was like, it was Trent. I didn't do it.